All right, welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Excited to be here.
Today, we're diving into TeleSol. They're big in network infrastructure. We're going to be looking at this blog post they put out about their trip to PTC 2025. It was in Honolulu.
Yeah,
And, PTC, it's like the Super Bowl for telecom.
absolutely. It's the big one.
So this blog post, it's going to give us like an insider view into what TeleSol is doing and thinking about.
It's like a little treasure map.
Yeah.
They're giving us clues about their strategies, what they're prioritizing.
Right. Okay, so the blog post, it names 4 TeleSol people who are there. Andjelko Marjanovic, Gus Osborne, Stephen Cardwell, and Matthew Denny.
Okay.
What I thought was interesting is that they say they had all these exceptional customer meetings and that this led to like new opportunities. What kind of deals are we even talking about at an event like PTC? I mean, it's not like they're signing billion-dollar contracts on cocktail napkins, right?
Well, maybe not on napkins.
Yeah.
But PTC, that's where these conversations start. You have to remember what TeleSol does, right?
Fiber optic networks, that's their specialty.
It was like the backbone of high-speed internet.
Exactly. So imagine them at PTC meeting with all these companies.
Right.
Companies working on 5G, Internet of Things, even satellite communications.
Wow.
These are the kinds of partnerships that could change global connectivity.
Okay, so it's bigger than just selling what they've already got.
Oh, for sure.
It's about looking for these game-changing collaborations.
Exactly. And don't forget the competition.
Oh, right.
All the big players are at PTC, kind of sizing each other up.
Yeah.
This blog post could be TeleSol's way of showing off a bit, showing they're right there in the thick of it.
Showing their strength, yeah.
Right.
They also talk about rekindling industry friendships. Is that actually important in business, or is it just like PR talk?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly.
Okay.
Companies, of course, they want to look friendly, like they're all about collaboration. But in telecom, where trust matters and these deals, they last a long time.
Those personal connections can actually make or break a deal.
It's not just a one-time transaction.
No.
These are partnerships that can go on for years.
Yeah, even decades.
So if you already have that relationship, that shared history, it helps when things get complicated.
Exactly. Plus, think about it from the point of view of those 4 TeleSol guys,
Yeah.
right? They're dealing with all this crazy technical stuff, regulations.
Yeah.
Having a network of people they can call, people they've known for years, even decades. It's invaluable.
It's not something you can get from a Zoom call.
No way.
And speaking of connections, the post mentions local culinary delights and cultural festivities.
The perks.
Do you think that stuff is really relevant, or are they just trying to make a work trip sound fun?
Well, I'm sure it is fun.
Right.
But it's more than just that. Sharing a meal, experiencing a place together, it creates a connection, a shared context.
Right.
And in a global industry, people coming from everywhere,
Right.
those informal moments can bridge cultural divides, build rapport, and that's super important when you're talking about millions of dollars.
So it's not just about what you know, it's who you know, and maybe even where you get to know them.
That's it. You got it. But it's not about superficial networking, okay?
Got it.
It's about real relationships that last. You could say the deals happen in the meeting rooms,
Right?
but the trust, the foundation, it's built outside of those rooms.
Makes you wonder, huh? Maybe some of the biggest decisions are happening over Mai Tais and sunsets?
Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the best ideas when you're relaxed, your guard is down.
Makes sense.
And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to brainstorm with that view of the Pacific Ocean?
Yeah, it's true. But we shouldn't forget that PTC isn't just a vacation.
Oh, right, of course.
These are serious people with serious goals.
Right.
They're there to show off their tech, learn what's new, and position themselves for the future.
Right. So we've got high-stakes deals, personal connections, and now this emphasis on operational efficiency.
It's really giving us a clearer picture of what TeleSol's all about.
And we're just getting started. There's still a lot more to unpack here. Remember how the blog post ends with those Hawaiian phrases, mahalo and a hui hai?
Yeah.
Seems like a simple goodbye, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more to it than that.
Okay, tell me more.
So mahalo, it means thank you. But it's more than just politeness. It's a whole feeling of gratitude, appreciation, connection. And hui hao, that means until we meet again. It speaks to these relationships that last.
So it's not just goodbye, it's a promise to keep talking, to nurture those connections they made at PTC.
Exactly. And in an industry that's changing so fast, like telecom, those strong relationships can be really important.
That's a good point. It makes me think about how we always talk about networking and building your personal brand. It seems like TeleSol's taking that to another level.
In a way, yeah.
They're not just building individual connections, they're creating a sense of community inside their own company and in the whole industry.
And that's a smart move. At the end of the day, business is about people, right? Trust, collaboration, working towards the same goal.
And what better place to build those relationships than Hawaii?
Yeah.
There's something about that natural beauty, that aloha spirit. It helps people relax and connect.
It's true. It's like the island itself is helping things along, creating a space where people can open up and connect.
So it's no coincidence that TeleSol talked about those cultural things in their blog post.
Definitely not. It all ties together beautifully, doesn't it?
It does.
The business deals, the personal touch, the appreciation for doing things well, the sense of community, and the welcoming atmosphere of Hawaii.
Like a perfectly orchestrated message.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It makes me think about our listeners. We've all been to conferences, networking events.
Right.
But do we ever really stop to think about the bigger picture? The subtle things they're telling us. What's really going on beneath the surface?
That's a great point. We often get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff that we miss those deeper insights, like those hidden Mickeys, the ones that tell you so much about the companies and the people.
Exactly. And those insights can be really valuable.
Yeah.
Whether you're trying to make a deal, grow your network, or just understand what's happening in your field. TeleSol builds and manages the infrastructure that makes our hyper-connected world possible. They deal with tons of data complex networks and technology that's always changing.
So their ability to handle all that basically makes them a more believable partner.
Exactly. It shows they're reliable.
It's like they're saying, hey, we can handle your network just as smoothly as the PTC organizers handled this huge event.
Exactly. It's a subtle message, but it's powerful, especially for potential customers who are looking for a partner they can really trust. And remember, PTC is where all those potential customers are. They're all in one place.
Right.
TeleSol's making sure they stand out.
It makes you wonder if they wrote this blog post with the specific audience in mind. It's not just a random recap of their trip. It's a strategic piece of communication.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. Companies like TeleSol are very careful about how they present themselves, especially at an event like PTC.
Right.
Every word, every image, every little detail is chosen on purpose to get a specific message across.
So even something like praising the event logistics could be part of a bigger plan to show they're a leader in the industry.
Absolutely. And that brings us back to those Hawaiian phrases at the end of the post, mahalo and ahuau. We talked about the deeper meaning of gratitude and long-lasting relationships. But there's another layer here that connects to their overall message.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the next layer?
Well, think about the context. Hawaii is known for its strong sense of community and respect for tradition. Mahalo isn't just a word, it's a way of life.
Right.
And ahuau suggests a continuation, a connection that goes beyond just the event itself.
So by using those phrases, TeleSol is aligning themselves with those values, subtly reinforcing their image as a company that values relationships and long-term partnerships.
Exactly. They're not just saying it, they're living it. They're weaving those values into how they communicate, creating a feeling of genuineness.
It's brilliant. It makes you realize that every detail matters. The words they choose, the images they use, even the cultural references they make, all contribute to building their brand identity.
And that brand identity is super important in industry as competitive as telecommunications.
Yeah.
It's what makes them different from everyone else, what makes them memorable, what ultimately attracts customers and partners.
This whole conversation is making me think about the power of subtle messaging. It's not about being flashy or over the top. It's about creating a story that really resonates with your audience on a deeper level.
It's about understanding the psychology of your audience.
Yeah.
Knowing what motivates them, what their problems are, what they want. And then finding creative ways to address those needs through how you communicate with them.
So even a simple blog post about a company trip can be a lesson in strategic communication.
Absolutely. And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. We're not just reading a blog post. We're peeling back the layers, uncovering the hidden messages, and getting a better understanding of how companies like TeleSol operate in the real world.
It's a reminder that even in a high-tech industry, it's the human element that drives progress. The relationships we build, the trust we establish, and the shared vision we create are what ultimately shape the future of telecommunications.
Beautifully said. And it brings us back to TeleSol's blog post, which, as we've seen, is much more than just a casual recap of their trip to PTC. It's a carefully crafted message, strategically designed to position themselves within this complex and constantly changing industry.
It's a masterclass in subtle messaging, a reminder that every detail matters when you're trying to build a brand and connect with your audience.
And for our listeners, it's a valuable lesson in how to read between the lines, to see those hidden messages, and to understand what's really going on in the business world.
Okay, deep divers, we've taken you behind the scenes at PTC 2025, explored the world of telecommunications, and uncovered the power of strategic communication. But we're not done yet. So we've talked about the big picture, but now I want to bring it back to you, the listener. If you were at PTC, what would be your main focus? Would you be trying to close a big deal or learn about the newest tech, or would you be more focused on building those relationships with people in the industry?
It's a good question to think about, isn't it? It tells you a lot about your own goals, how you see opportunity.
Yeah, and I think if you have to pick just one, it makes you really think about what you want to get out of an experience like PTC.
Right. It helps you be more intentional.
Exactly. You use your time and energy better.
For sure. If your goal is to get a big deal, your strategy at a PTC would look very different from someone who's there to learn new things or grow their network.
So for someone like you who's always up to date on the latest tech, I bet learning about all of that would be a big draw. What were some of the hot topics at this year's PTC?
Well, 6G was a big one, even though a lot of places are still getting 5G up and running.
Right.
There were presentations on fiber optics, of course. It's TeleSol's thing. But what I found really interesting was how different technologies are starting to come together.
You mean like those hybrid solutions we were talking about?
Yeah.
Like combining fiber optics with satellite communications.
Exactly. And it wasn't just about connectivity either. There was a lot of talk about cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, even the ethical side of all these new technologies.
Right.
PTC isn't just about the technology itself. It's about how we use it and why.
So even if you weren't directly involved in those specific areas, going to those presentations could give you new ideas, new ways to think about your own work, and maybe even lead to collaborations you weren't expecting.
Absolutely. That exchange of ideas is one of the best things about going to an event like PTC.
Yeah.
You never know where you'll find inspiration or who you'll meet
Yeah.
that could change your whole career.
It makes you realize that even if you don't land a huge deal, the connections you make, the things you learn, could open doors you never even thought about.
Exactly. It's about seeing how everything's connected, how one conversation, one presentation, one random meeting could have a big impact.
This whole deep dive has been like that, starting with what seemed like a simple blog post and finding all these layers of meaning, connecting it to the world of telecommunications and the things that are shaping our future.
And I hope it's made you think about your own goals, how you network, and how powerful communication can be.
So as we wrap up this episode, I have a challenge for you. Take a look at your own industry. What's your version of PTC? What are the big topics, the new trends, the major players? And if you were going to that event, what would be your top priority?
We want to hear from you. Find us on social media, share your thoughts, and let's keep talking about this.
Because just like TeleSol's experience at PTC, our journey of learning never really ends. There's always something new to discover, a new connection, to make a new insight to uncover.
So keep doubting deep, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Mahalo and ahui hion.